After many technical difficulties, we are fucking here, bitches, because we can't deny you. Because we know you need us in your life. You need us in your life. It's fine. I understand. We are back with another episode of the Heel Hook Show after a long weekend off with Eddie going to San Diego, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
Repping jiu-jitsu, powerful jiu-jitsu, and then playing NBA 2K18 like a fucking savage, working on glitches and grinding and crying. But how are you, brother, anyway?
I'm alright, tired as fuck. The technical difficulties are a bitch. Remember didn't we just talk about, I don't know, it was last week, the weekend before, that one girl that sings that Fuck You Google Plus song?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about. It's exactly what she was talking about. Bullshit.
You know what the thing is, though, guys, is like we do this with very much simplicity a lot of the times, but whenever there is a fuck you moment, we get a real fuck you moment from fucking YouTube. YouTube legit does not want to play games sometimes.
Yeah, no kidding. Yo, by the way, powerful new profile picture for Paige Van Zandt. God damn, you seen that shit?
I haven't seen that shit because I can't remember. Did I block her or she blocked me? I can't remember. I think I blocked her.
Okay, keep her blocked if you want to. Just make sure you find it. Dude, god damn, she looks good in that picture. Is she writing a book? Or did she write a book?
I'm looking. Sorry, I looked at the complete wrong page then. I was looking at Paige from WWE.
No. Paige Van Zandt.
The one where it's, oh my god, she's got a book.
Fuck the book. She's got nothing to say. She looks fine as hell on the cover.
Book. Bro.
Hey, she looks fine as fuck on the cover of that book. I'm not reading a word of that shit.
I've got genes older than her. How the fuck is she gonna tell me her life story?
Here's the thing, I love the title, Rise, Surviving the Fight of My Life. Like, I want someone to recap it for me so I know whether or not she's being for real.
Legit, that is the most. You know what? She just looks like a fitness model in that picture. I'm not mad at that.
God bless her.
She legit just looks like one of those girls who's like a fitness model. Like, hey, here's my new DVD on how to get a six-pack in.
I think I can see nips. I think I can see nipples on this. I'm not sure.
Rising and rolling with Eddie. That's all I know.
I'm saying, motherfucker. Anyway, yeah, dude. Anyway, fucking, yeah. So the Google Plus thing is fucking crazy. I don't know what the fuck she would talk about in a book. She's like, what is she?
I don't know what she's surviving either. The fight of her life. Like, I know she got bullied when she was younger, like young. But what I do also know is she got pretty. So I can't imagine it was that difficult after that. You know
There's no way it was too difficult after that. So I mean, I'll hold judgment until I hear someone tell me about what she wrote, because I'm not reading that book, let's be honest. But I know, were you ever bullied in school?
Yeah, fuck yeah, because I was like the skinny white kid, and you know what I mean, like who did martial arts and stuff. So everybody wanted to have a little pop.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. But was it that bad though? I never got bullied because I was always like the scary motherfucker, like that was fucking people up.
Because the thing is, though, is and this sounds so wrong and stuff like that, but it's like it depends on like what kind of environment you're in. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were certain people who just didn't get fucked with, like because of how they look stereotypical. Like now, I don't get as much grief. Like if I'm walking in the streets, people like try to avoid me. Like they don't want to sit next to me on a bus and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things that I'm like, cool. I don't want to be fuck with either. But like back then, it's like everybody, like where I'm from, especially like the area anyway, a lot of people are trying to kind of assert their kind of alpha, like especially like teenagers and stuff like that. Like we have a culture of like young people who are just absolute assholes who want to constantly have confrontations and stuff like all the time. And it's like, it's a kind of a little culture thing that's around this area where it's like, I'll put it this way. Like, just for an example, in the supermarket where I was the other day, a group of kids came in and they were just walking around, a group of them. They were no older than anything from like 9 to 15, and there were like 3 or 4 of them, about 4 of them, should I say. And they're walking through the shop and they're barging into customers, just random customers, just bumping into them for no reason whatsoever. Then this store manager turns around and is like, look, you're going to have to go. And then they go, we're not going anywhere. So they all split up and bolt. And then some of them start grabbing eggs to steal eggs. And then this one guy tries to like restrain one of these kids, like saying, look, you're coming out now. This kid kicks the guy in the leg and then runs on a Sunday morning.
Just gone?
Pardon?
He just kicks him and runs?
They all just run. Yeah, they just kicked him in the leg and ran, and they all just fucking bolted with eggs in hand.
Did you hear about that bullshit that was going on in the States? I don't know if it happened over there with you guys, but in the States, there was like groups of kids running around playing the knockout game. So they would like they would be walking on the sidewalk, and they would just take a swing at someone that was an unsuspecting person. The person, didn't even see it coming. There was one video I saw. It didn't happen a lot. They tried to make it like it was this huge thing, and it really wasn't. But it happened a few times. And like the one video I saw, this lady, she was walking down the street, and some guy sneaks up behind her, fucking just clicks it with a right on the side of the head, knocks her the fuck out and leaves. And they were calling it the knockout game.
Have you ever seen? You'll have seen it more and more in the current affair of like hip hop and stuff like that, with like the way that people are dressing. A lot of Americans now are kind of copying the style of like UK artists, like the grime kind of sound and the way that they dress and whatnot. And
Right.
an expression, like obviously you've got Drake, who's a big kind of name, who's kind of affiliated himself with a lot of big names as far as like UK hip hop and grime. If you search the word, I believe it. I don't endorse this whatsoever, and I think it's completely idiotic and whatnot. But if I remember correctly, but if you put in, let me find it. Right, here we go. If you just search on Google right now, UK space road man, all one word, it will come up with imagery, and you will see the Urban Dictionary for it and whatnot. And this is basically the kind of young culture that a lot of young lads are like doing now. And like that's the kind of, you're seeing a lot of it transition into like the States and the culture of like what you guys are wearing, and that's coming from the UK. Like it's got to the point where there's been so much shit that you guys have done that we've copied, that you've run out of shit to do, so you've got, fuck it, let's copy them. And this is what you've come with. And it's the worst thing in the world because these guys look like fucking idiots, in my opinion.
What are you gonna do? Look, it's young people, right? From when we were kids, what did you dress like when you were in high school?
When I was in high school, I used to just like, if I'm being completely honest, I was massively into like hip hop culture. So like I was into like mainly New York kind of culture. So I used to wear just like a kind of a bit of baggy jeans and then like a grey hoodie, like a Champions hoodie. And that was just kind of what it was. Do you know what I mean? I used to rock Timbs, and that was the thing. Do you know what I mean? That's what I used to wear. Like it wasn't things that were like OTT, but when I went into high school, Eminem was like the big name. Like that was the breakout artist. Literally, as I went into high school, like Eminem was the thing going into high school. So that kind of culture and everything like that was something that I'd been listening to hip hop music and like soul music and stuff like that for years. But yeah, that's how I kind of dressed accordingly, like that kind of New York kind of late 90s, early 90s.
See, I was really like, what do you call it? Like baggy jeans, jerseys, like football jerseys, backwards. I was jock to the fucking end, and it was just weird because I the other day I was, my roommate pulled out my she found my fucking yearbooks, she pulled them out. She was looking at them and shit. She like found pictures of me because high school take candid photos and they throw them in there, especially your senior year. And I look on there and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? She's like, that's you. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I look, it's fucking me. And I'm like, oh my God, I would kick my own ass if I ran into myself like today. Like if I can go back in time, I'd be like, what the fuck are you wearing, stupid? How are you going to have some dude's last name on your back, you stupid fuck? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, unless you're going to a game, you shouldn't be wearing a shirt with some other guy's name on your back. It's fucking weird. I find that weird.
I do, I don't know. I always used to rock my number and then I'd have my name. Like the number thing was kind of more iconic, but I always rock my own name. Always.
Yeah, after I think senior, like and near the end of my senior year, no, like halfway through my senior year, I got a football jersey with a number 7 because my numbers that I use for like sports were 7, 31, and 52, right? And I got number 7 with my last name on the back, and that made sense. It was cool, whatever. You know what I mean? But I look back at it now, I'm like, man, I'm wearing like a Derrick Rose jersey. What the fuck is wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying because I used to rock a number 7 or a 23 or an 87, and they were the 3 numbers that I rocked. So
yeah,
I totally agree with you. It was weird when you're wearing another guy's name on your back.
Right. You're like, well, okay, well, what is this about? And I wonder, like, if you think about it, like, what is this about? You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's always been a culture of like, you always, like, your parents from when you were a kid always used to go, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then you always, you know, romanticized whatever you idolized, you wanted to be. So like, if you were, you know, if you watched a TV show, if there was a cartoon and, you know, fucking hell, say if it was like some superhero that was, you know, a reporter by day and, you know, a superhero by night, you know, you wanted to be a reporter because, you know, you wanted to be like that way. You want to be like Superman. Do you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things that like you associated with whatever was the thing that you wanted to idolize. You know, if you saw a cop and, you know, you wanted to be a cop because, you know, you saw him fighting all these bad guys in these movies, you'd want to be a cop. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's all these different things.
Okay, now, all right, when you how do I say this? When you were growing up, like, who was your superhero that you were like looked up to?
What are we talking, like literal, like Marvel, like
yeah, like whatever you consider to be your guy. I'll go first. So I was a Batman kind of guy. And everyone was like, "What the fuck, Superman? Kick his ass." And I'm like, Batman will figure out how to kill his ass before he even comes near him. Get the fuck out of here! You don't think Batman has a fucking contingency for this shit to figure out how to kill this motherfucker? He's a genius billionaire. Fuck out of here! And plus the fact that I hated that everyone loved Superman so much. Like, I hated that.
I'm on the same wavelength as you. I was a Batman guy growing up, but the other like iconic kind of goddamn. And this is the thing that, you know what, right? This is legit as well. The reason why I got into martial arts as well, and this is God's honest, was based on when I was a kid, I used to watch Power Rangers, and like I absolutely idolized the Green Power Ranger. David Franks, the Tommy guy, and like legit. So like legit, I even named my first dog after him. Like when I was a kid, like I called it Tommy. Like that's how deep I was into it. And like that was what got me into martial arts, was watching Power Rangers, being a massive fan of the Green Ranger, especially because he was doing all these fancy kicks and all these kind of other things, and I was just like, yo, this guy's legit, like this guy's a badass as well, do you know what I mean? And that's what got me into martial arts. So yeah,
and it's funny because when I was watching Power Rangers, I'm a huge Red Ranger fan, like this huge Red Ranger, so much that you remember the very first Red Ranger, something Austin St. John or something was his name. He came when I trained karate for 2 years before I got sick of dancing around like a fucking idiot. That's literally what it was to me. Every fucking day, the same exact and then fucking flip around and shit. But he came to teach one time, and I was like, holy shit, I want to do that. And I remember my my instructor was just like, yeah, okay, you guys got to get your money in. They call him Jason, but his name's Austin. Jason for the Red Rangers. The Red Rangers going to be here next week. You guys need to get your money in. It's like, how much is it? It's like $200 for what? For yeah. $200 for 2 1-hour sessions in a class with a bunch of people. It wasn't even like a private, nothing like that. And I was like, no. I'm gonna tell my dad. My dad's like, get the actual fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. I'm like, fuck. So I showed. For those 2 days, I went to the class after his, right? But I asked my mom to take me early just so I could see him. And I was so disappointed, man. I was a little kid and I was like, holy shit, Red Ranger's gonna be doing some crazy shit. No, not at all. He looked like it was an inconvenience for him to be there. Like he was annoyed that he was there. And I'm like I immediately was like, well, fuck this guy. What the hell is that? Like, you should be fucking like enthusiastic and try to teach these kids shit or teach us some shit. And instead, he's just like, yeah, that's fine. Like you knew some kids were fucking up the technique he was teaching. Like, he was teaching like side kicks, right? Like straight sides. So bring the leg up as high as you can, then kick out, right? And this one kid was fucking it up royally. And he's like, hey, Mr. John, Mr. St. John, am I doing it right? Or Sharky, am I doing this right? Sassy, whatever he called him. And he's just like, he looks over, barely looks over, he's like, yeah, that's fine. and he's like totally fucking it up. And I'm like, wow, fuck this guy. And I was just so disillusioned, like, that I stopped watching Power Rangers like right away. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like every time that was on, my brother and my sister would be watching on TV, and I walk by the room, by the TV, and I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy. Just walk right by. So it was always weird, man. Oh, you know what I was a fan of? I was a fan of the subliminal racism on that show.
Yo, there was so many things where
Right?
like you look back, but in fairness though, even when you look back at any show, like in general from that generation, because I even went back and watched some old Captain Planet. I don't know if you remember Captain Planet.
Yeah, I remember those motherfuckers.
Yo, racist as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
let's not get it twisted. Racist as fuck.
Yeah.
And
No, 100%.
So bad. Like there's loads of things though. But I think the thing is though is this is something I was going to bring up to you as well, because I wanted to kind of get your take on it, because it's hard for me to kind of to be completely honest, to kind of imagine what it's like to deal with kind of stereotyping in a sense, because the only time I've ever been stereotyped is when I'm around like minority people, like people who want to turn around and then flip it on. So it's like, then when that happens, it is really weird, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know if you've recently saw that there's a player who plays for Manchester United. He's a new player that we signed this season called Lukaku. Absolute beast of an animal. He looks like a heavyweight boxer. He's like 6'4", he's about 200 pounds, quick as shit, athletic as hell, big, jacked up black guy, like scary. It looks like he could play like fucking football, like American football. He's fucking legit. And we have a campaign over here called Kick It Out. And it's a racist campaign to get rid of, stereotyping, racist chants, any kind of racism in football. That's what it's there for. Right. They approached Manchester United about getting some of their fans to stop singing a certain song that they were singing about Lukaku. Now, I just want just take this into account. I just want to make sure this is boldly clear. Lukaku's been scoring in every game that he's played. The Man United fans love him. They adore him. They're singing a song about him, and they're doing it out of adulation, and they're doing it out of, props. They're endorsing him. They're trying to show him love with this song, and they're being told to no longer sing this song because it's stereotyping and racist.
What was the song?
I don't know the correct words of it. I'm not even going to fucking sing it. But they were singing about, and for the one viewer that's tuned in, this is so weird for you to jump into. But this person, Lukaku, is having a song sung about him by 30,000 men about him having a big black cock.
Good for you, dog. What the fuck? It's still racist and fucked up and stereotypical as hell, but like I've never seen okay, so obviously I'm not originally from the US, right? I'm from Mexico. But when I was a kid and I first got here, my parents put me in, they just literally found a school near where the house where we lived at, and just put me in there, right? So the first school I went to was like third grade. And it was a lot of white kids. And in that class was me. I was the one Mexican kid in the whole class, which is weird for Arizona. Arizona is like tons of Mexican people everywhere. But I'm the only one in this one classroom. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And it's me and there's 3 black kids. All 3 of them ended up being like some of my closest friends till about like high school, right? Then everyone moved away, fucking went their own ways. But I remember getting in there and, I was friends with these kids. And I learned very quickly that when you're a minority, you're a minority. And not only are you a minority in every sense of the fucking word, really, but you're treated as such by most people. But not consciously, if that makes sense. Right. Like most people around here don't try to be racist and don't try to, treat you different. They just sometimes do because that's how they were raised. It's almost like a customary thing, right? It's really, really fucking weird. But if you pay attention, you see it every time. So me, being the angry little motherfucker that I was, I noticed every single time. And I got pissed every single, you know how many fights I got into going all the way through fucking high school, dude? Like through high school. It wasn't
But would you
until
do
I
that,
turned
though?
18.
But like, I know this sounds weird because it's one of those things, but like, I always try to be very conscious and try to be very kind of understanding because obviously I feel that because you can never learn how it feels per se, you always have to be very kind of conscious and, soak in anything that people kind of tell you when it comes to stuff like this. But from your perspective, if somebody was chanting in context the same thing to you as you're playing for a football team, baseball team, basketball team, whatever, and there's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, being complimentary about the size of your Johnson, would you have a problem with it though? Do you know what I mean?
Look,
In a positive manner.
All right. If I'm this, what's his name again?
Lukaku.
Lukaku.
Powerful, big black Belgian guy.
Okay. If I'm this guy, I go, thank you for your money. Now fuck off. That's all I would say. Like, that'd be it. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing about it, and people get all crazy about about that kind of thing. Maybe it's just me. Maybe because I have really like a laid back attitude about shit like that now because I understand it. And I understand that most people aren't trying to be fucking racist and shit, especially if they're trying to compliment your package. You like, all right, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's 30,000 geezers sat in stands cheering him on.
Here's the thing: the people that are what I noticed, the people that are offended are the ones that aren't the subject of the racism. For example, here in the States, and I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but in the States specifically, nobody's more outraged about racism than white people. Because they want to so badly be in the whole, hey, I'm one of the good guys. Like, be cool with me. I'm one of the good. I'm not a racist. Fuck that guy. He's racist. Fuck that guy. I'm cool, right? We're cool. We're friends, right? Like that's how it is, and that's okay. Whatever. You know what I mean? But it's always hilarious to me because I always like, if someone says something, they always look at me like something racist, like especially towards Latinos or Mexicans, and they always look at me like, oh, but I didn't mean it like that, bro. And I'm like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Oh, dude, I didn't mean it. I'm like, I'm fucking with you. I don't care. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Very few, after I turned 18, I realized that you can go to jail for fighting. And, once you do that, you're like, okay, and I need to get my temper under control. After that, I was like, I don't give a fuck.
I think, in a sense, the problem with racism, it will always be, and I'm not trying to say that it's always going to be around because of this reason, but I think that one things that I strongly dislike, and this is just my own perspective of it, is when, for me, I think that racism will always be around in some context because some people don't want to let it go. Like, there's some white people that will never let go that their great-great-granddad didn't get a job because a black guy, could do it and he'd do it for cheaper. But on the same context, on the flip side of that, there's going to be moments where, and there's a hip-hop artist called Sky Zoo from New York, and he doesn't use the N-word in any of his music. Never uses the N-word, and I think that's so important because I think that if you keep the word alive by saying it, then you're keeping it alive. You're broadcasting that to the world for more people to constantly hear it. And if you make it so that it's acceptable if I was to turn around and sing a song with that word in it, you can't be mad at me. You wrote it in the song. Do you know what I mean? And you can't tell me you don't want me to buy that song because you want my money. And your predominant amount of audience is going to buy your music just based on, amount of people that there is in the world. There's a lot more white people that are going to buy music because that's a higher demographic of people that are going to buy music. That's just how it is. So I just feel that both sides, it's kind of, that's the reason why it'll always be around, because people will always hold on to something like that. And some people, some white people want to be racist. Like, there's no doubt about it. There's some people who they want to teach their kids it. And I just find it so crazy because these same people will be, for you soccer fans, there'll be American football fans, there'll be basketball fans, there'll be whatever. And they'll have ethnicities of different origin to themselves on their team, and they'll be cheering them on week in, week out. But then they don't want to be, served a coffee at Costa, at Starbucks or whatever by somebody of color, which is just baffling to me.
I remember when I was in I was visiting one of my cousins, and we went to, yeah, we went to an Oakland Raiders game. You know, American football, obviously. Yeah. Oakland Raiders game, and if you know anything about Oakland, it's a very diverse community, very diverse. So, went to this game. I know better than to wear any jersey other than a Raiders jersey to a Raiders game in Oakland. So I didn't wear any jersey. I wore a regular T-shirt and a hat, and I was, you know, whatever, right? Everyone else is in Raider gear. They happened to be playing I was a little kid. They happened to be playing the fucking 49ers, who are like one of their fucking death rivals. Like, they hate each other, right? So we're sitting in a section where it's like a big old group of like Raiders fans, and then there's like a bunch of like, we're like surrounded by like Niners fans for the section we were. It's a cheaper section, so it is what it is. So we're sitting in there. A guy wearing, I forgot, he was wearing an old school Jerry Rice jersey, right? Yeah. Probably the best wide receiver of all time, probably. I mean, he's got the most yards and I think touchdowns too, but probably the best receiver of all time. Black dude, right? He's wearing this jersey. I don't know what the fuck happened with the Raiders, and the Raiders were dog shit at this point, but they fucking were putting an ass whooping on the Niners, I remember. And the dude standing up wearing his jersey starts screaming out N-words at everybody. Like, you're this, and you're like, whoa. And it was funny because the dude next to me is this massive black dude. He stands up and he goes, you're wearing a Jerry Rice jersey, stupid fuck. Sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Like, he screams at it. And then the guy realizes how stupid he is, and he goes, oh, shit. He just sat down and shut up. Not to mention, I'm sure I got a few hundred people in that section wanted to kill him at that point. Like, it was bad. But it was the irony. I never, like, the irony is always there. I always notice it. I'm like, you racist fuck. You probably, like, whenever I see racist people on TV, I'm like, you probably have like a Michael Jordan jersey in your fucking closet somewhere, or a Kobe Bryant jersey or something like that. It's hilarious.
I just find it strange, man. We've gone down like a deep route. We're going fucking total JRE on it, but
yeah.
I just think it's a strange thing, man. I just think it's a strange thing. I don't know. For me, I just found it hilarious that somebody wanted to censor somebody I'm not gonna lie, if I was like a football player or whatever and there was like 30,000 black folk saying you've got a massive white cock, I won't give a fuck. Like, it wouldn't mean nothing to me, but I guess it is what it is. But it's just a weird one for me. I don't know. But nonetheless, anyway, we'll get into this card that we just had this weekend at UFC Pittsburgh. Pretty fucking crazy awesome card.
You know what? I didn't watch any of it except the main event. So you're gonna tell me I watched? Okay, so I'll just catch you guys up. So I went to San Diego on Friday, Jordan Friday, and then all Saturday I was basically doing cornering, I guess, for one of my teammates who was competing at the who was competing at the NABJJF Nationals in San Diego. So he competed, and I was just yelling shit and whatever, doing, and he did well. He ended up fighting a total of 11 times, which is a lot. But he did well. I think it was 3 silvers and a bronze, so he did really good. But that shit did not end until about 8 o'clock at night. And after that, we were fucking starving, so we went to get food. We went to get some wings, and they had the UFC card on, but I was able to find an Instagram video of the Canelo Triple G fight. So I was watching that. I paid zero attention to any UFC card at all until the Triple G fight was over, and I laughed my ass off at the result. And then I caught the whole main event of UFC Pittsburgh, and I was not impressed by either guy. I was less impressed with Rockhold than I was with Branch. Okay,
Branch did really well in the earliest stage.
First round. Yeah,
and it looked like he was. I thought I was dead on the money. I was like, shit, like, I'm actually right. Like, Branch is going to fuck him up. Mm-hmm. And then the wrestling came in, and, it is what it is from there. But I think Rocco looks suspect at 185. He looked like,
dude, he looked awful. To me, he looked awful because David Branch tagged you the fuck up. Everything David Branch threw, he landed. Everything he threw landed. I got surprised shitless that Rocco didn't get knocked out. So, that ended in the second round, right?
Yeah.
Am I right on that? Okay, yeah. Because in the second round, Rockhold finally got close and clinched. Then I'm like, okay, now it's over. And I was sitting with my teammate and friends and family and all that, and they're like, what are you talking about? They're just they're gonna wrestle. I'm like, David Branch can't wrestle. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. He's not a wrestler. Not a go to AKA every single day and wrestle with Daniel Cormier and Cain fucking Velasquez every day kind of wrestler.
Exactly.
All right, that's grindstone shit. So, as soon as he got the clinch, he took him down. I was like, oh yeah, it's over. It's fucking over. Chris Weidman couldn't survive this shit. How the fuck is David Brandt's gonna do it? And yeah, fucking got the shit out of him. Here's the thing. Here's what pissed me the fuck off. I mean, it pissed me off real bad because people that were talking shit don't understand what it's like to be in there. People that were calling him a pussy for tapping his strikes. That was bullshit. Go fuck yourselves, all of you that said that shit. They're like, oh, well, what a little bitch. He tapped his strikes. Motherfucker, you get in there with Rockhold on your back, basically back mounting you, spreading your legs up in the fucking air so you have nowhere to plant on, and just doing this shit. Tell me you wouldn't tap too, you fuck. Like,
you know what's the funny thing? No, this is the one thing we always talk about. There's too many people that have never been punched in the face.
Everyone needs a punch in the face.
I love, but it's just the thing that there's so many fucking dudes, man. Like these fucking journalists that fucking have never been punched in the fucking face, and it's like, I've been in confrontations before. It's like, dude, you went to a private school. Like, yeah. You might have got fucked by your teacher, but that's about it. You didn't ever get slapped. Like, you 100%. And it's just like, I don't know. I think that genuinely, I think one of the most freeing experiences you can ever have in life is training in martial arts and getting your ass kicked, because then you realize there's limits. There's limits to life. This is not a movie. You're not gonna do 13 blocks like it's Wing Chun. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna be able to do that. It just doesn't work like that. And there's too many people who think this shit is fucking, Bulletproof Monk or something, and it's just craziness.
Okay, I just saw an awesome tweet, and it wasn't even directed at me. It's on my feed. This guy tweets out. Okay, so real quick, and I know it's completely off subject, and we'll get back to it. But Mexico had their second massive fucking earthquake in like 10 days, something like that. It was a big one. That's two in the span of less than 2 weeks. It's fucking bad, but it's like 7 point something or 8 point something, right? This guy tweets out. Anyway, as a quote tweet, he goes, "The world is gonna end before Conor McGregor ever defends a title." Facepalm. I love that. Mind you, hey, this is a McGregor fan that tweeted this out, so I don't want to hear it.
Isn't it like Category 5 though? The hurricane that's going around down near the Dominican, I want to say.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. The whole world's fucked up.
I just love that thing of like people who are turning around and saying like this has no association whatsoever with like fucking global warming. It's like, okay.
It's like you know what it is? That's just the earth going, hey, assholes, cut the shit. You know what I mean?
Stop driving cars everywhere, motherfuckers.
Yeah, bicycles, you fucks. Or how about they stay home for a little bit, you fucking assholes? Like, shit like that. But no, it's so crazy the whole thing's happening. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. Yeah, fucking people, everyone. My dad told me this when I was a kid, and I believe it to this day. My dad told me when I was like 5 or 6 years old. He goes, "Nobody is above an ass whooping. Nobody. All right, everyone can get their ass whooped any day. Now, when you go compete, it's the craziest part. This happens to me every single time, and I struggle with it, and it's made me before think twice about competing, because when I go compete, I made weight, all the work is done, I'm calm, and then once I get into the venue and I got my bag, I'm starting thinking about, okay, cool, we're gonna fight in this much time. We're gonna fight in this much time. All right, we're gonna weigh in like 10 minutes. When you weigh in, and for some reason an adrenaline shot like hits me, and it's like you forget your whole game plan, and you just want to go, right? That is like the most alive I've ever felt. Like, you feel so fucking alive when that happens, because you're like, holy shit, this is real. Oh my god, we're about to fight a human being. Like, there's no way. You know what I mean? So you get in there, you're fucking lit up like crazy. When it's all over, it's like you come down with this weird feeling of just like calm and chill the fuck out. And like you let this energy out of just crazy and this stupid bullshit that was rolling around your fucking brain beforehand. Everyone needs to be in a fight. Everybody. You should fight at least once.
It's so like I don't think people understand how primal it is when you compete in tournament because there's a difference between training, because when you're training you're trying to help each other as well as like whoop each other's ass. Like there's kind of like a competitiveness when you're actually just kind of training. But when you're fighting and you don't know this guy, you're like, fuck this dude, like he's trying to beat me, like he ain't gonna hold back. I ain't hold back. And it's a totally different thing. And the other thing is because you don't know them, you don't know the point where they're going to stop. Like, you don't know. Like, you don't know if they're, like, obviously in jiu-jitsu, you never know if they're going to be a guy who holds something in a little bit long.
Yeah.
You don't. You never know. You don't know if a dude's going to fucking spike you.
Oh, that's happened.
You know what I mean? Like, there's those dickheads around that'll quite gladly spike you. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that.
That's some bullshit. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? But then I've been in moments where I remember once when I were in a kickboxing competition and we were clinched up. And I swear to you on my life, he did this on purpose. I don't give a fuck what anybody said. When we were clinched up and we were clinching and we were kneeing, I swear to you, because you weren't in amateur, you weren't allowed to use elbows, obviously, because we had head guards on. So, like, and obviously, you still had that part of your face still out. So there was just no, you weren't allowed to do it. And I swear to you on my life, as we were there and we got split up to push, when he came back, he threw his elbow across like that. So, like, he didn't bend his elbow. He didn't, like, throw it across, but he tilted his elbow inwards, like tapped, and it fucking caught me on my cheekbone. And I just thought to myself, if this motherfucker's cut me up, I swear to fucking God. But that's the thing. There's just moments where you don't know. You don't know, man. You don't know how fucked up somebody's going to be when you're fighting them. You just
that's the thing. Like, every time I fight, it's like I get in there and for some reason my mindset goes from, you know, like calm jiu-jitsu, let's just, you know, train there, like I said, primal, right? But it goes to primal to the point. My first thought has always been, in every single fight I've ever been in, has been, this motherfucker has some balls to fucking show up and fight me. Fuck this guy. I'm gonna fuck his world up. All right, I'm gonna take what he wants. I'm gonna take what's his. I'm gonna make it mine. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next match. Fuck this dude. Like, he has to. Like, I almost hate my opponent because I'm just. Oh shit, he got jumped off. All right, well, we're still live, ladies and gentlemen. This dude just accidentally jumped off here. So I'll keep talking. So this dude, like, legit, I remember this one fight, get in there, and this guy's looking at me. He's looking at me in a weird way, and I'm weird about how people look at me, right? Like, I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's problem. This guy's problem. And real quick, I'm checking the live feed to see how. Remember this one fight? Oh yeah, he's off. We're still live though, so we're good. Anyway, so it was one fight I was in, and it was such a trip that, like, this dude had gotten in there and was like, no, you left.
You disappeared. Your voice is completely gone. I can't hear you at all. I think the mic's gone on yours, brother.
No, I mean, dude, like, legit, I can hear myself.
He's been ranting for like 10 minutes and we don't have a clue what he's just been saying.
No, go look at the feed.
Because I can't even deal right now.
I can hear.
Eddie's just gone completely quiet. And there's no audio from Eddie.
Dude, look it up, bro. I can hear you.
Yo, Google is trying to fuck with us, bro. Yo, something went wrong. What the fuck? What the fuck's happened to the episode?
Turn up the volume. Turn it up.
Yo, there is literally. I can hear you now, bro. I can hear you now.
Okay. I have the live feed on here. I've been talking. They can hear me. They couldn't hear you. Like, you disappeared.
Yo, you disappeared, bro. Like,
no, dude, I told you. Bro, you disappeared, man.
Yo, I went ghost gin on you fuckers. Oh Lord.
Anyway.
Oh Christ. Yo, the car.
You know what? Let's talk about the car for Google fucking kicks us off this shit.
Yo, can we just say one thing? Perry with the powerful finish.
Oh, dude, that fucking was it the right hand from hell?
That was the one against Reyes.
Okay, there was one where dude got caught fucking flatlining.
He hits him with the knee on the clinch on the way out, and
I saw that too.
Sparkles him. Yeah, that was the Mike Perry one.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second, guys, because we might be joined by Brad Wharton, the voice of Cage Warriors.
All right, you want to turn down your volume a little bit because I can hear an echo.
You want to turn it down?
Yeah, your speakers.
Right, I'll turn it down. Is that good?
Well, I mean, I can still hear myself, but it's not as bad. I don't know what the fuck.
Yo, what the fuck do you want me to do, bro? Like,
I'm just asking.
Turn it down. Oh dear.
Fucking Google Plus, man. Fuck you. For real. I wish I had that song.
I just find it crazy because it's just like, to me, I always like think, oh fuck it, we're gonna get people on here. Do you know what I mean? Hold on. Right, so let me try and find Told Brad.
All right. Shit. So I didn't. I'm pulling up the Perry finish right now.
All right, hold up, guys.
There was one before that was saying someone had a nasty punch. Okay, Mike Perry KOs Alex Reyes. So right hand, another right hand, clinch. Reyes trying to go for a takedown, going for knees. Perry setting up the powerful knee to the left side of the head, or the right side of his head. Ooh, knee to the chest. Here's the setup. Boom! Beautiful setup by Perry, though.
Perry's a fiend, man. I don't like him as a person, but he's a monster.
Yeah. No, but the way he set up that fucking, like, he had the tie clinch, and he shoves him forward in range and cracks him. Beautiful.
Badass knee, brother. Badass knee.
Yeah, I can't stand the motherfucker, but he's a fucking sick fighter.
I posed a question on Twitter the other day. What was more important, whether it was like athleticism or fighting instinct? And I was actually surprised that a lot of people did just go with fighting instinct, you know.
That's more important
than athleticism.
In MMA?
Yeah. We are joined by Brad, motherfuckers, the voice of Cage Warriors. How do, sir? He's repping the Cage Warriors hoodie. Powerful Cage Warriors hoodie as well.
Message to my sponsors.
Yo, just speaking of, because I've been waiting for you to join in so that you can actually see this.
Sorry about that.
There's no, it's all good. There was today, basically where I live, there's a few shops that sell one of my favorite drinks, which is a Monster Rehab drink. They don't sell them in like major stores anymore. But whilst I was on the hunt to try and find one of my friends saw that it was in a Polish shop that they have this rehab drink. But I also found an additional drink that I had to purchase purely based on us being live tonight. So if you can see this, hold up.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
And it says there, I don't know if you can read that because it'll be backwards, I think, but it says knockout fatigue, right? I'm presuming it's a Polish, but it's a Polish MMA energy drink. I'm kind of scared to take it in case it's got like some kind of crazy Mexican supplement on there.
Bro, I'm
gonna end up like John Jones. Either I'm going to end up with a really hard dick or I'm never sleeping again. So
good for you either way.
You know, if you've got the really hard dick, why do you want to sleep?
Come on, a boner when you're sleeping is one of the most uncomfortable things ever. Get the fuck out of here. You can't turn over like that. Bullshit.
I'm really scared to drink this. I'm not going to lie.
Do it on air, don't be bitch. Wait, no, it's kind of late right now.
Yeah, it's like 11:30. Eddie thinks it's like 3:00.
It is. It's 3:30.
Shotgun the whole thing.
Oh shit! Right, we're ready. Oh my god. Yo.
Hey, here comes Joanna and Jay check me into the face, bitch. What's up?
Oh, this is gonna like. Yeah, right. Bottoms up, lads.
Nice knowing you, brother.
It literally just tastes like Red Bull.
Oh shit!
With amphetamines. So yeah, we were just talking about before, Brad, before you just joined us. We were talking about the importance of in MMA, which is specifically more predominantly needed, whether it be fighting instinct or athleticism.
I saw you. You had this. We've seen a lot of athletes get burned out over the years. You know, Olympic athletes, especially in pride, a few Olympic wrestlers, Olympic judo players, and like getting hit. I suppose the best mainstream example is Brock Lesnar. You know, that guy, I mean, you're not going to find a better athlete, but he did not like get punched in the face as soon as the guy was gone.
No, I agree. That was one of the examples that I gave as well. You look at the two Frank Mir fights, and both of them showed how each side could win the fight. It showed the IQ, obviously, of Frank Mir in the first fight being able to catch the knee bar, and then in the second fight, well, you just saw the mauling of the bigger, better athlete, being able to just dominate somebody, even though they had better technique than them. So it's a weird one. For me, I'm always going to say fighting instinct, because at the end of the day, if you naturally know how to fight, you know how to pick your shots and you know how to execute and how to finish. Whereas if you're an athlete, that's all good and well. You can be as athletic as you want. But the thing is, you can't be taught how to take a punch. You just can't. It's either in you or it isn't.
It's the reaction to it. Like, you know, getting hit is really, really unpleasant. Like, getting hit repeatedly over a long period of time. You know, most of us have never been in the street or something. It's very quick. It's a couple of punches or a bit apart, and that's it. When you've got to do that again and again and again for 5 minutes, then have a sit down and then go again and again, all of a sudden it's I think some people aren't in the most fit, athletic guy in the world. You know, ballerinas athletic. That doesn't mean they can pound and pound it. Not like that, no.
What did you think to the David Branch tapping out via strikes, by the way? What was your opinion on
that? We're sort of conditioned as MMA fans to like a push move. But, you know, again, unless you've been in that spot where you've got a, you know, you're possibly the top 50 best fighters in the world, punching in the face, what are you going to do, man? So we don't know. We don't say, oh, you know, just take your licks. But until you've had Luke Rock punch in the head, how do you know how you're going to react? I'd like to it's one of the few things that MMA has over boxing. In boxing, the fighter can't quit on the corner of the referee. Yeah, MMA is one of the things we have in boxing. A bit verbally, or we can tap out. And I don't see what the difference is really between tapping out to a choke when you're going out or tapping out to punches when you're going out.
Are you there, bro? Because I can't hear you. Your audio is gone again.
Hey, don't even sweat it.
Is this one of those things where the audio's gone again?
Dude, yeah. So yeah, it happened to you again, motherfucker. He thought, can you hear me, Brad?
This is some bullshit.
I can hear both of you.
I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah, I can hear him too, right? Again. So I hear Brad. I hear Ash too, but he can't hear us. What's wrong with you?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear you guys though.
Oh, that's weird.
Yo, the beautiful technical difficulties that we all endure for this motherfucking podcast. This is craziness, ladies and gentlemen. Just like
we could try turning it off and turning it on again.
We're dealing with bullshit.
Yeah, power cycle. That's what all the fucking all those fucking like helpline
just like, I don't even know what to tell you guys right now. Yo, right, hold up. Let me try something right now.
So, Brad, you ever hear that chick that sings that song "Fuck You Google Plus"? You heard that shit?
I have, yeah.
Try something.
Yeah, exactly. This is what she's talking about right here. Fucking fuck Google Plus on that shit.
This is ridiculous.
Man, if we were bad people, we totally shit on Ash right now. Why you can't hear us on his own show?
That guy.
Yo, I can hear you cocksuckers now, mother. God damn, you're lucky I'm not here with my Joanna juice.
You should just pour some out on your laptop. It'll work better.
Yo, I don't even know. This is the first time ever that we've had any issues ever with the fucking podcast, like ever. It's just straight up fucking like we've done it like 1,000 times. I've recorded a dozen million times now, and it's just like, God damn it. But yeah. I think at the end of the day, like you said, they were getting punched in the face by Luke Rockhold. Like, just imagining the velocity of being hit by somebody like that big and that trained and that discipline to just pick his spots. It's just not fun. And I think MMA fans have this.
The whole point of this sport is like we say, oh, you know, the gloves are small, so you don't get hit as much, and the safety's better than boxing. There's no 8 counts. So why are you going to let some guy turn you to mush? I know it's like a macho thing not to give up to getting punched, but when your head's getting rattled around, whether it's from punches or whether it's from you know, I mean, we've all been choked out, right? So that's a fucking unpleasant situation to find yourself in. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's no different getting knocked out. It's just as fucking unpleasant, only it hurts more and there's more risk of damage.
I'll say this, I'd much rather tap out quicker and be able to remember my kids' names when I'm 35.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's one of those situations. All these people who are online saying, oh, he's a pussy for tapping out. They're not paying his bills. They're not looking after him, so fuck him.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You had a fucking adventurous little weekend, didn't you? With the card this weekend
as well. Yeah.
I have to admit, like, after everybody would like, and I know in a sense with good reason, a lot of people were hyping up the Canelo Triple G, and everybody was kind of, they weren't giving, I don't think personally, the respect that was due to the MMA that was on this weekend. I saw a lot of combat sports fans that were very derogatory, and they were just like, "Oh, I'm not watching any of this bullshit this weekend. I'm just gonna watch the Triple G Canelo fight." And I saw a lot of people say that. A lot of people weren't gonna watch UFC Pittsburgh. A lot of people weren't gonna watch Cage Warriors. A lot of people weren't just gonna watch Bama. But with that same thing said, I don't know. I think it was a great weekend for MMA.
It was huge, man. I didn't actually get to see Bama, unfortunately. I did plan on going to see it because I was in London anyway, but I ended up getting to London quite late and just going out some food, so I kind of missed it. And also, with the terrorist attack in London, they were telling people if you didn't have a ticket, you probably wouldn't get in because they were doing extra security checks. So I thought I'll sack it off and watch it on Saturday morning. So I watched it. I watched highlights of it on my phone, and yeah, dude's just getting melted left, right, and centre. Really, really good fights. And it's obviously, I don't know, I don't really feel any like sense of competition with Bama, but you just think, you know, when they're in the same town, the same weekend, and we were like, oh man, they had a great show. And then we had a great show as well. You know, I know a lot of fans, I spoke to a lot of fans on Saturday night who've been to both. Two of the Cage Warriors judges had also judged Bama. And, you know, we were all talking in the bar afterwards. And Mark Goddard as well, he ref Bama and he ref Cage Warriors. And, you know, we were all sat in the hotel bar afterwards and we were like, shit, what a great weekend for UK MMA. Some really, really good fights on both cards. Really exciting fights on both cards. And, you know, the fact that it's Monday, Tuesday, and people are still talking about the Cage Warriors main event and some of the big knockouts on Bama, it's only a good thing when you had arguably the best boxing match of this generation going on the same night as well.
I will say this though, fuck that Geordie Shaw guy. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying it out loud. I will stand by this to the day I die. Fuck that guy.
It's not him though. It's not him.
It's
Bama's fault. It's Bama's fault. Look, he got paid more than everyone on that card, right? He's not going to turn those fights down. He's going to fight in Newcastle in a few months' time in his hometown. He's going to make an absolute fortune, and he's fighting guys on a similar level. So it's not really his fault. My issue with it,
the way that they organized the first fight and the way that they changed the weight cuts, the way they changed the weight that it was going to be, the way that they actually set out and they actually portrayed his fight and when it was placed and when it was recorded and then put on later, like all stuff like that. Fuck that guy.
Well, that's not him. That's Bama. That's the promotion that's doing that.
If you don't think his management are involved in that, come on, man. They know. They're not going to turn and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to put you actually on later on." Like he's fully aware of all these decisions that are being made, and he'll be asked as well.
It's more down to the TV company. So the TV company that owns Bama also owns. It's called Giant TV, and they also run all those TV channels. And they are linked in with Viacom, who are linked in with MTV, who produced the Geordie Shaw. So exactly. It's a big network of. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes with that one. As far as like Aaron himself is concerned, I've never met the guy. I know the guy because he was sent to a really good camp. He was sent to UTC in Cannock in Staffordshire, which is where Tim Wilde trains out of. One of my favourite fighters. And you know, those guys said, look, the guy fucking comes down, he puts the work in. He's actually decent. You know, fair enough to him as far as I'm concerned. Is that Bama promote that fight as if it was any other fight? Now, I'm not a football fan. The best analogy I could think, I'm not really a football fan, but I used to watch it back in the day. So if I was watching a football game back in the day, and I was watching Man United play, and there was like you know, a third string goalkeeper or something, because there've been injuries. I wasn't assuming that this guy was maybe not at the same level. I'm thinking this guy's playing for Man United. He must be great. I'm not going to look for his training ground stats or the 20 other clubs he's played for before, or where he's been a second or third stringer. I'm just assuming because this guy's on Sky Sports and he's playing for Man United, he's a top boy. And I think the casual MMA fan is going to see Aaron Chalmers waxing these guys, and he's being treated as if he's the same as the guys who are fighting for world titles. And that kind of sticks it to me a little bit. If I'm on the banner card and they've got guys with 15 pro fights on before him, I'm thinking, why are you putting this guy above me? Why are you sort of saying to the general public that this is the level and I'm here? That's the kind of thing that pisses me off about it.
Exactly. That's the thing that's been annoying me most, is that you look at there's certain fighters that who could fight him at the same weight that compete in Cage Warriors and other UK organizations that would wax this guy. And that's the thing that annoys me most. Those guys, and I'll put this is another thing that, this is what worries me. If he's to get 2 or 3 more fights and he starches the people that he's fighting against, and he sells out a few venues, does great numbers, there's nothing going to stop the UFC turning around and going, we'll have him on our prelims and he can main event a prelim. And it wouldn't surprise me, because if they can get the numbers, they'll do it.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's wrong. That's wrong.
It is wrong. But, look at guys like Charlie Ward. He shouldn't be in the UFC.
I completely agree, and that's the same thing though. That's where we go to the thing. It's wrong. Do you know what I mean? It is wrong.
Right. I don't know, man. Obviously, I don't like it. I don't blame him as a person. I think he's fighting guys that he's put in front of. He's had 2 fights. He's fought 2 guys that you wouldn't see it strange to have him matched against in any other show. I don't like how Bama are promoting it, but I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Like maybe it's like UK MMA fans that are to blame, because Bama have always put good cards on.
Yeah,
they've put very different cards on over the years. Like they used to, be really interested in getting like ex-UFC and Pride guys in. They've had like Frank Trigg, they've had Ninja, those kind of guys that they brought in, and that kind of worked for a little while and it didn't. And then they focused on the homegrown scene, and that kind of worked and it didn't. And this is what they've been left with doing. Whenever they've had the real success is when they've had Alex Reed on, and now this guy.
It just makes me feel
UK fans aren't buying tickets to see real fighters.
What's his name again? I was trying to find information on him, but what's his name?
Aaron Chalmers.
Aaron Chalmers. All right, cool.
If you just look up Geordie Shaw MMA, then you'll probably find it. But the thing is, to me, that it feels like Bama's turned into Bellator and Cage Warriors is the UFC equivalent. Do you know what I'm saying? It feels like that. That's what it feels like to me. It feels as if like Bama's kind of making a joke of MMA. That's how it feels to me.
Well, they're owned and operated by a TV production company, and I think that's why they've always struggled. They've if you've been following the news on the UK scene recently, there's been a lot of Bama fighters sort of complaining about the treatment and the contracts, that kind of thing. Paul Redman's coach has had to go on a radio show and say, Paul Redman's from Dublin. They've refused to put him on the Dublin card. When he fought for a title on the last Dublin show, he didn't even have his own hotel room. He had nowhere to cut weight. And this has been something that's plagued Bama for years. And I don't want to start having a pop at Bama because it's pointless. But it has. I used to be really close to the Bama guys years ago. And even back then, it was an issue then. It always has been. But they're beholden to the purse strings of a TV production company. So the TV show is more important than the fighters and the fights and the organization and the long-term planning of it. And I think if you look at promotions like Cage Warriors and KSW and other shows like that, they are more fighter focused. There's a lot of shows that are more fighter focused with various different levels of financial backing. You'll see local shows and domestic shows that look after the fighters better than Bama, but don't have the money to spend as much as Bama. So they will do it on their level, whether that's just making sure guys have got a hotel or making sure they've got supplements or clothes or whatever. They'll go all out for the fighters and not make a profit. Whereas Bama have a different agenda. And
I will say this though: the image of Mark Goddard sat down in front of the Geordie Shaw girls in the front row, looking as if to go, what the fuck are you doing? It's one of my favorite pictures ever in MMA history.
Apparently, one of the friends to throw their drink on him.
Yeah.
A decent counterpuncher would have fucked this cat up in 10 seconds. Like,
the worst thing about
what is this shit right here? He's just like this. He's like out wide, and his every punch he threw was wide. Nothing was straight. Nothing was jabbed. He wasn't careful. He once in a while did this a little bit, and the cat that he fought looks scared shitless. Like he looks like someone that goes, "Hey man, you got to fight today. Oh, by the way, no headgear, shin guards." Oh, what are you talking about? Isn't that an Emmy fight? Is this an Emmy fight? Like, shit!
He had like 10 Emmy fights, and the funny thing is, he's fighting out of a gym where they're notorious for being hard as nails. I mean, they fight. Their motto at that gym is "We fight any cunt." Like they will go anywhere in the world on a day's notice, and they'll fight anyone. Apparently, this guy doesn't train regularly. He's not full time. You know, he's not building towards a pro career. I don't really like
put in there to lose.
Coaches, to be honest, I think it's a shame to hear that kind of thing afterwards.
Wow, this is fucked up. He got this dude got put in there to get his ass whooped.
And the worst thing about it is, though, is the first fight. The second fight, I'm not as mad with because, you know, the similar levels, like you say, and they're both the same weight. Like, that was what was agreed on, and that was what was said, and that's what they were. It was the fact that the first fight, the cat was a smaller guy, and they said, don't worry about it. You're just not gonna have to weight cut. What? And so I'm gonna be, you know, naturally smaller than him anyway, and I'm not going to cut weight. So I'm not going to even be like at my optimization kind of point. He's going to cut a little bit of weight, and he's going to be a lot more optimal because he's cutting weight, and I'm going to get fucked up by this big guy. Like that's what it was. That was what the first fight was.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about what actually happened with the weigh-ins. Like obviously it was supposed to be at lightweight, and then they told him the day before it was welterweight or something along those lines.
That was the crowd.
It was about 10 pounds or something, and Bama said that they agreed on a catch weight a few days earlier. Then the opponent said no, he was told the night before that it was that or nothing. Obviously, he doesn't want to pull out then because he was probably making a few quid. It's a bit of a shambles, man. But again, that's the promotion.
But on a different note, how fucking awesome was the main event on your card?
It was good. Yeah, it was. I mean. I've been really lucky over the years to commentate some really good fights, and I don't know if it's just like the primary and recency effect, just because it's the most recent one I've done, but I really struggled to think of one that was more exciting than that. To be there live and get the opportunity to call it. Like I had sort of assumed that Reed was winning, and you kind of. When you start going for the finish, like when you're commentating, you start sort of building up and trying to just make yourself sound, well, not make yourself sound more excited. I was genuinely excited. You kind of, like I've got up to 10 Spinal Tap territory, having to crank it up to 11 already. And then Wood fucking lands that counter. It's like a short left hand or something.
Yeah, it was on the right. Yeah, because he's pushing across.
And then I was like, oh, fucking hell. I've got nowhere else to go now. I'm already here. I'm fucked. I need some helium or some crack or something. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. I thought it was a fantastic bit of refereeing from Mark.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been like, oh, why did he stop it so quickly for one guy, not the other? If you watch the full, like not the clip that's been going on social media, but if you watch the full fight video back and actually listen to what the referee's saying, every time he asks for Nathaniel to fight back, he tries a plum clinch, he closes the gap, he throws something, his guard's always up, he always has his bearings about him. When you look at Reed, on the other hand, he's told to fight back the first time, and he doesn't. And he kind of, his hands drop, and then when he gets that big hit, he turns away, and his hands drop right down. That's not fighting back. That's not intelligent defense. It was a real tough call for Mark to make. I was talking to him afterwards, and he was like, I was going to let Reed land one more punch on Wood the first time around, and I was going to stop it. And then he came out with that counter. So it was very close to being stopped the first time. I thought it was a great bit of refereeing from Mark.
It was a very hard fucking round to, like, that was one of those ones where I wouldn't have been mad if they'd have stopped it when Woods was getting pummeled. I'm not gonna lie, because there was moments where it was like, because I remember listening to the audio specifically for the referee, and you could hear Mark go say, "Do something, or I'm gonna stop it." So, and
yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts, man. You know, the whole card was crazy. Like we had, we lost 3 fights off the main card, and you're thinking like, fuck, like 3 fights on the main card. That's painful. But we had 4 prelims that all ended with a finish. There was like a fucking jumping armbar in the prelims, nice big knockout to finish them off, and then it was just like crazy fight after crazy fight. Like Sean Carter versus Joe McColgan. Did you see that one?
No, I missed like half of the card because I was at work.
If you want to go back and watch one, man, Sean Carter versus Joe McColgan, absolutely insane. It went to the decision. One of the closest fights I've ever seen. I know Sean's guys were kind of a bit unhappy with the result, but there was, we've got 3 top judges, and each judge turned in a completely different scorecard. That to me is like, yeah, that's as close as it's going to get. So that's kind of fair enough. So I think there was 29-28 to one guy, 29-28 to the other, and then 30-27 to one guy. And it's like the rounds were that close. It was insane, absolutely bonkers. And that main event
was insane as well, to be fair. That audience was rowdy.
They were a little bit too rowdy towards the end. I don't know if you've heard, but there was a little bit of fisticuffs up on the balcony.
Yo, real quick, I saw one dude take a swing at a chick, try to drop his chick in the red. Is that same one, right? Was that the same one?
I don't know. I haven't seen no chick getting hit, but I know there's people who were swinging in that audience.
Are you guys still there?
We're back here. We're back. This is the worst ever technical difficulties that we have ever suffered from.
Okay, this is horse shit.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
All right, real quick. No, because I saw a video of a dude, this big white dude, taking a swing at a chick in the red, just like swinging, trying to hit her. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, he's going after her. Like, she
probably started it. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know, for sure. But he was like 3 times her size. Like, bruh.
Have you ever been hit by an English chick? Shit, you don't.
No,
you don't even know what you.
I've been hit by an angry Italian chick, and I didn't understand what the fuck she was telling me. I don't remember that.
It's close, but fucking, I've been hit by 1 English chick and 1 Scottish chick. It's not fun, mate. It's not fun. It's not fun.
No, it's definitely not. It was a shame, man. Like, it was, there was a great atmosphere in there, but there was like, Josh Reed brought like a few hundred fans with him, and obviously like Wood had hundreds of fans in the venue. They'd all been drinking all day, and I think there was a small group of people having a little bit of fisticuffs, and then a few dickheads on the outside started throwing drinks in. And as soon as the drinks started going in, everyone started fighting. And it was like, it's on a balcony in like a theater. And you're thinking like, fuck, like if people start coming down, they're going to end up dropping into the cage. It's going to look like it's fucking raining dickheads. But luckily, they got it sorted out in like 3 or 4 minutes. So it was all good. And I understand that a few people have been soundly bollocked by the fighters and coaches, etc., who they were supposedly there supporting. So that's good.
Well, with that said, we'll go into a top 5 because we were going to do top 5 for main events. Yo, man, what the hell is my dog done doing? My dog's like getting super aggressive. All right, then just chill. Good. Yo, this is one of the weirdest episodes we've ever done. Like,
ever, yeah.
Like most Bray, what the hell are you doing, boy? We're going to do a top 5 when my dog's decided to stop.
I can hear him grunting. What the fuck is he doing?
I have no idea. He's literally just like, he's on the couch and he's like pawing like the couch and he's just like walking around on it. I don't know if he's trying to get comfy or he's just fucking with me. I don't know at this point. To be quite honest, I think this Joanna juice has fucked me up, so I don't really.
There's not even a dog in the room. You're just imagining everything.
Yeah, you find some.
No.
They fed you some. They fed you ayahuasca in a fucking can, bro. You're high shit right now.
Oh,
Fucking
shit.
gone. You're about to see. Hey, you're about to see Mother Gaia and God at the same time. So just hang off of that ride, bitch.
Oh shit! I'm gonna see Easy E, Tupac.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even own a dog. He doesn't even own a dog. Doesn't have any pets.
Right, we're gonna do a top 5, guys, of our favorite rounds ever in MMA. That's 1 to 5. You can pick from any organization, whatever. What we'll try and do is we will try and find links for these, and we'll try and put them in so people can find them, or at least find highlights for their top 5 MMA rounds in MMA history. I'm going to start off with my top 5. I'm trying to avoid like the ones that are kind of the easy ones to kind of remember, just because I want to try and find little odd ones. I'm not going to go in any particular order, but my first one is the round 5 with Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit. Those two guys going hammer and tong after fucking 4 rounds of just non-stop striking, no ground game whatsoever. It was just a stand, rock and sock 'em. And then when you finally get to that 5th round, they're that exhausted. They're literally side by side, arms draped over the top of the cage, completely emptied from any energy after pummeling each other for fucking 25 minutes. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was legit, man.
My second is Arlovsky versus Travis Brown, the first round, where I thought both were going to die. I thought it was going to be legit like a double like knockout, because these two are literally giving each other stanky leg for stanky leg. And it was one of the most craziest things I've ever seen for 2 big men to literally knock the fuck out of each other tit for tat. My third is obviously Pat Barry against Czech Congo, because what a fucking comeback and what a craziness that fight involves. And to be quite honest, that's one of those weird fights that I don't think it gets as much kind of replay as much as it should do, as far as like when people talk about certain fights. That was a crazy comeback. My fourth is the Sakuraba versus Wanderlei Silva, just because these two were knocking 10 bells out of each other. Silva was just absolutely destroying Sakuraba, and it's just one of those rock and sock and pride fights where just two guys stand toe to toe and go for it. And Sakuraba, not being that much of a striker, being able to survive as long as he did, is craziness. And my fifth is the second round of the Do Ho Choi and the Cub Swanson. There you go. I couldn't find his name then. Cub Swanson. Just because that was one of the best rounds of the year, from arguably the fight of the year last year as well. And that's
you can't fault any of those, man. All sick fights.
Which one of you guys wants to roll in with your list next?
Oh, you, Bray, go for it, man.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a few kind of weird ones on here. My first one I'm going to go for, again, not in any particular order. Brian Stan versus Wanderlei Silva, round 1.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. It didn't actually end in round 1. I believe it went to the second round. But round 1 was just fucking nuts. Like, I think he was kind of accepted that it was going to be Brian Stan's last fight. I don't know if he actually announced it as such. And then, from Wanderlei Silva, we'd not seen him fight like that old berserker for a good few years. His body had obviously taken a lot of wear and tear, and his chin was pretty much shot by that point. And, we saw him go nuts on Stan, and Stan dropped him a number of times. And I don't know if it was maybe because he was back in Japan for the first time, and, his career, he's so well grounded there, but he just kept on plugging through. And the end of that first round, when they just both got up, and you were just like, holy fuck, this is like something special is going to happen there. And a couple of my mates judged that fight, and I'm very, very jealous of them for actually being there. Yeah, that was nuts. My second one, going back to I want to say like Pride 10 or 11 or something. Enson Inoue versus Igor Vovchanchyn, round 1. I don't know if you guys can remember that one off the top of your heads. It's the one where Inoue wore his karate pants.
Oh, right.
Sticking on, they basically just, after like about 20 seconds of feeling out, they just go nuts. And they just swing like they're throwing fastballs. It's absolutely insane. It ends pretty sadly, to be honest. Inoue ends up on the ground taking a lot of really, really heavy shots, and he has to get carried back to his corner by his cornerman. He can't even stand up properly. He actually came out for the second round briefly, but they had to stop it, and he ended up getting swelling on the brain afterwards. Absolute savage. My third one I'm going to go for Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva, round 5.
Yo, that's a sick round.
Because, I mean, you know, it wasn't like the most entertaining round in the world, but I believed, I mean, I was almost certain going into that 5th round that Chael Sonnen won that fight. He dominated Anderson Silva. He outstruck him. He knocked him down. He just ground and pounded him. And the 5th round starts, and he does the exact same thing. And I mean, how long was left? Like a minute or a minute and a half or something?
It was like a minute and 10 seconds left.
And then even with the finish, there was so much drama because like when they called the finish, there was like a brief minute where it was like, oh no, he didn't tap. And you had to wait for the replay to come through. And then it was like, oh, he did. That was absolutely insane. I think, yeah, in terms of pure, like, it wasn't action, but in terms of drama and storytelling, that last round was fucking sick. Number 4, Anderson Silva again, this time against Forrest Griffin, that first round, the fight where he matrixed him. I mean, you know, Forrest Griffin wasn't exactly the most technical fighter in the world, and maybe it was a perfect fight for Anderson Silva, but I think that fight, more than any, got so many people invested in the UFC, and Anderson Silva as a fighter. That's the kind of stuff that we all thought MMA would be like when the sport, you know, first came out. We expected to see like Bruce Lee type shit going on, and that was Bruce Lee type shit. You know, just the head movement, not even lifting his hands up, just slipping the punches, bang. Yeah, that was insane. That's one of my favorite rounds. I've got one more, haven't I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I had a couple written down here, but I'm going to go with this one. So this one is probably a more personal one to me, and it's Emmanuel Yarbrough versus Keith Hackney at UFC 3.
Okay.
Emmanuel Yarbrough was he was 6'8" and he was 500 pounds. He was the sumo guy.
Right.
Hackney was a karate fighter. He was, I think he was 5'9", 180 pounds or something. So this was the first UFC that I'd ever watched, and it was the first fight on that UFC. And this was the fight that made me believe in mixed martial arts. Like, obviously the Hoist Gracie, like, you know, he'd won UFC 1 and 2. And I kind of heard about that, and I'd read about it. But I understood that he was like a really skillful guy, and he was going up against slightly bigger guys. But then when you see like a 6'8", 500-pound dude stood next to a guy less than 6 foot and 180, you think, nah, this is going to be a massacre. This is going to be crazy. And then the fight starts, and Yarbrough like pushes him so hard, he goes through the cage door and outside. And you're like, oh shit, this guy. And then he comes back in, his tank top is ripped open, his teeth out like this, and then he's just like, fuck you, bam. Overhand rights the guy, and then I think he lands about like 50 unanswered punches to the back of the guy's head, like shattered his own hand. And I was just like, oh shit, like this is not how I expected fighting to be. So yes, for me that was like, right, I need to now watch every MMA fight I possibly can, and I need to go and learn how to beat dudes up like this. And yeah, that's the start of my journey, basically.
It's crazy, isn't it, how like things like that develop though. Just to think that like moments like that where you pretty much are gonna always remember it, and it's so primal as well to think how we'll look now, and we look where we are and we complain about certain things that we have now, and it's not even that long ago. It's, you know, what, 20, that'll be like what, 24, 23 years ago, all UFC?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I mean, I saw it in like, I got the VHS in like 97, 98 or something. So obviously I wasn't watching it at the time.
Yeah.
But I'd seen a lot of boxing. I'd seen a lot of sumo wrestling and stuff like that. Obviously with boxing, you know, the guys were always kind of the same size and the same skill level. And I used to watch sumo loads when I was a kid. And they're both big guys, so you don't really see the difference. And then when you see a tiny dude against a giant, and you're like, oh shit, this guy's going to die. And then he just destroys him. Yeah, it was insane. It definitely changed changed a lot about how I thought the world worked in terms of two dudes hitting each other.
Hit us up, Eddie. Let's go.
All right. In no particular order, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna call. I'm a number. I'm sorry, I forget how many I've done. My number 5 here. UFC 79, the second round of Liddell against Bender the Sub. You guys remember this fight is one of those. It's almost like Anderson Silva GSP-ish, where even if we get it now, it's fucking forever too late. Like we don't give a shit anymore. It was almost like that, but it was a firefight. The first round, I'm pretty sure Liddell like owned it, right? The second round, Silva, I remember him. I know he dropped Liddell. He dropped him with a couple hard punches. And then Liddell said, fuck that. Got off his ass and came at Silva like he owed him money. It was just like, I remember I actually saw this one. I was just like sitting there going, holy shit. Like, white boy's going to fuck up the fucking Brazilian guy. Holy shit, he's going to fuck him up. You know what I mean? And I think I went to the decision. I'm pretty sure Liddell won that by decision. But that was a crazy round. I didn't think he was going to get out of that round, like at all. Like for real, for sure was not going to get out. My number 4, Don Fry and a fellow who's in an unfortunate circumstance now, but he's getting some help from fans. But Don Fry against Yoshihiro Takayama. You guys remember that Pride fight where they grab each other by the neck and just right hands over and over? I'm like, who's going to die first? Someone's got to go. They're fighting each other like, right. So it was like someone's got to go. Someone can't live after this shit. This is fucked up. You got the American and the Japanese who just bruh, and I'm like, oh my god, all this, they're punching the steroids out of their heads. It's fucking craziness right now. Like, oh man, that round was so nutty. My number 3, Nick Diaz against Paul Daly. If you guys remember in Strikeforce, Paul Daly was supposed to knock the shit out of Nick. He was supposed to fuck him up, and he dropped him. Yeah, he dropped him, and he dropped him something nasty to the point where you're sitting. I was watching. I'm just like, fuck. I'm a huge Nick Diaz fan, obviously, but I was like, god damn it. I was so mad. And then Nick kind of like turtles up for a second, finds his way back to his feet, and then just fucking overwhelms him with strikes and finishes the fight. TKO. That to me was just a crazy show of just fucking like just balls, man. Just like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna get up and I'll fuck you up. I gotta breathe for a second. I'm gonna get up. When I get up, I'm gonna fuck you up. That shit was crazy. That was number. Let's see, I did 1, 2. That was 3. All right, so number 2, Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin. That second round of that first the fight, the most important fight in MMA history, or at least UFC history. I mean, talk about two guys who went in there and said, "Fuck it." I mean, that's how I saw the whole fight, really. But especially that round, it was just, okay, I'm gonna throw everything I got at you and see what happens. And that's what those two guys did in that round for sure. Fucking crazy. And then, again, I'm a Nick Diaz fan. First round, I think it might have been the other round of Takanori Gomi and Nick Diaz in Pride. Yeah. Pride 31? No. Fuck, whatever the number is. 33?
I think, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. 33. Yeah, Pride 33.
American one, wasn't it?
Right. So it was that one. Okay. But that, I mean, fucking what they call it. Takanori Gomi is a Fireball Kid, right? That's his nickname? Yeah. Okay. If whoever's watching, if you haven't seen this fight, I'm not gonna tell you shit. I'm not even gonna describe and tell you why it's one of my favorite rounds. Go watch it, asshole. Fucking go on YouTube. I guarantee it's on there. And then you're gonna come back at me on Twitter and be like, "You were right. You were fucking right."
I mean that was legit one of the best fights I've ever seen as well. I'm gutted I didn't remember that one. I tell you what as well. I might have put Takanori Gomi versus Jens Pulver as well.
Yeah.
I think it was like Shockwave 2004, the New Year's Eve show. That was fucking sick. And I think it was just like, it was a very kind of Nick Diaz style fight, to be honest, because it was just like they kind of forgot about MMA and just like, let's just fucking box. Let's just sling him and see who goes down first. Let's not worry about blocking and slipping, and let's just fucking punch the fuck out of each other. See what happens.
Jens Pulver was like, I already need that to work, bitch. Let's just fucking go. I don't give a fuck. I'll fix it after this shit.
There's like so many you can pick from though. Like you could pick the round 4 of the Roy McDonald, Robbie Lawler, that with a stand up.
Dude,
dripping down.
The in between fight. I got that fucking. Well, I showed this shit I showed you that before, right? I got that poster on my wall of them just staring at each other like, woo, like shit.
That's the most badass thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like when Rory's just not moving and Lawler's like, nah, fuck this guy, I'm not moving either.
So crazy. I still haven't seen.
They had like a tow truck or something to drag him back to the corner after each stuff. That was mad.
Dude, I haven't seen anything that has come close to that moment in terms of just like I'm still here, bitch. Like, I'm still here. So what's up? You haven't finished me yet.
That's violence.
Donald, he likes the whole like American Psycho type thing, but
Right.
that's real. That's real. He's cold as fuck. And Robbie Lawler, like the only thing he knows is fucking violence, man. Like that guy's he's just a dangerous guy. He's the guy, like, you know, if you spill his fucking beer in a bar, you're going out on a stretcher. Like that guy's going to hurt people wherever he goes. And yeah, like I say, man, you know, Roy McDonald is just ice cold. I don't think we're ever going to get a better combination than those two again.
Oh, no way.
It's craziness because it's one of those moments where it'll always be etched in history. But I don't know, it'll be so crazy to think that, say, like, because obviously with this being so young, it's going to be great for us because, you know, in like 20, 30 years time, and, you know, like our kids, grandkids, whatever, will be turning around and they'll be talking about whoever's new in MMA or whoever does this, and there'll be an epic moment. There will be a moment where, you know, like somebody scores the winning goal in football or somebody gets the winning touchdown or whatever, and that happens 20 years later in the same circumstances, and you go, you don't remember Robbie Lawler and fucking Rory McDonald back in day.
Yeah.
You kids don't know you're born.
That's what it'll be. It'll be in 20 years' time. We'll be turning around and we'll be saying to people, like, as grandkids or like whatever, and we'll be turning around and saying, yo, you need to go back and watch this, and they'll be like, fuck you guys.
No, and I gotta mention UFC 196. No, I gotta mention UFC 196, second round of the main event. Nate and Connor going back and forth, and Connor catching him after the first round. I was like, everyone was sitting there going, "Fuck, Connor's gonna finish him. God damn it, Connor's gonna fuck him up." That first round, he beat the shit out of Nate. I mean, he threw everything at him. That second round where it just completely flipped, holy fuck, is one of the greatest. That's one of the best rounds I've seen in recent memory.
I'd just like to say that I can genuinely feel and taste sound now after that drink. Jesus Christ. I'm not even kidding. Like, you know when you've had like a sugar detox and then you have like a little bit of sugar and you can feel that kind of tingling after you've had some.
Oh, yeah.
I genuinely just felt like I could feel my soul just kind of shaking inside of me. No, but there's loads, like you say. There's the Max Holloway where he points to the ground and says, "Look, we stand."
Oh, Ricardo Lamas.
Exactly.
God, that was a savage fucking thing to do. Like, you said, all right, you point to the guy, stand and bang, and Ricardo's like, all right, bitch, bah, bah, just as hard as they can. Like, woo. Fuck, that was so crazy.
What was the other fight? There was another one that I was going to mention with John Lineker and Rivera.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
I can't remember what pay-per-view it was one, but I always remember that fight because they just slang and banged.
That was sick. That was fucking sick.
There's loads though. Like, I think that's the cool thing about MMA, and this is why I think that there's always going to be a problem with boxing. I just think that there's always going to be a problem with it because now that we've had that taste of freedom and realism, you can't go back. Once you've gone forward, you can never go back. And, you know, that's why I'm always amazed that, like, Glory Kickboxing, etc., you know, places like that have not got bigger because I feel they've put on much more exciting shows. But because boxing's been around forever, it's just going to be around forever.
It's a product of its time and environment. I mean, you know, if you look at like the biggest boom period of mixed martial arts ever, like in the noughties, there was nothing bigger than K1. Like K1 in Japan used to, like, on New Year's Eve, which is like a big family holiday. So like obviously in the Western world, on New Year's Eve we go out and get drunk in the evening. In Asia, it's a family day. So basically the entire family goes around to the oldest family member's house and you watch TV. And there's two things that you used to watch in the noughties. There was either like a karaoke style program, or you watched the K1 and Pride Super Show. And there was one year when I think it was like 60% of not just 60% of people watching TV, 60% of everyone in Japan was watching K1 on New Year's Day. I mean, that's fucking incredible.
Just imagine
a lot of bullshit, like Bob Sapp fighting and stuff, but you know, it goes to show, man. So it was a product of its time.
I'm just thinking of all the money they spent on steroids to fucking pump those guys up. Yo.
Happy days. I mean, like I used to be a huge K1 fan. Like I grew up in Europe and I grew up in Holland, where kickboxing is like the national sport almost. So, you know, I've seen a lot of great kickboxing over the years. I was a real big fan of that sort of era of K1 where you had the great fighters Like you had your Hoost and Arts and Bodjansky, Masato, all those guys. And you also had the characters like Bob Sapp and guys like Mark Hunt. Like Mark Hunt won a K1 in 1999, and it was just like he was never supposed to do that, but he was just basically this big burly guy just came in and knocked all these great kickboxers out. It was a real entertaining sport at the time, and I don't know what it's lost over the years. You would think with like MMA fans being more enthralled by the stand-up strikers and the striking wars, you'd think like a promotion like Glory would be able to capitalize on that and take it up to the West, but I guess kickboxing has just never really taken off in America, and they can't. They're America's the industry leader in terms of what we're going to have as sports entertainment when it comes to fighting.
It's weird that it hasn't. It's weird that it's not a huge thing either, because with all these people that are like, I just want to see some stand and bang shit. I don't want to see any takedowns or ground game. You think they would fucking be like running to watch Glory and stuff like that, but no.
It's strange. I remember when you used to be able to watch Thai boxing on Channel 5 at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and I used to legit stay up and watch it, or I'd record it and I'd watch it before I used to go to school. And like I couldn't even pronounce half the people's names that were on those fucking cards, but I still I don't know why, but it was just there was just something different about it than anything else. But with that same thing said, when you mentioned Mark Hunt, a friend of mine who I work with, his son who's 8 or 9 and he's just getting into MMA, and he was saying to me like, oh, I've been watching like this odd little fight and this person, and the two people that he mentioned, because to him he found it so weird, even in the modern era, but he was like, I can't believe people like that guy with the beard and the big beer belly and the mullet, he's knocking out like big, massive athletic dudes, and I'm like, Roy Nelson then.
Yeah, Roy Nelson.
But it's just craziness just to think though that when he's not a fan of the sport, he's just, kind of watching it because his kid's watching it. And he was saying like, he was asking me about my opinions on like if he should go with his kid and take him to an event and stuff like that. And I was just saying to him that like there's so much MMA that you could watch, and I know it's like a cheap plug, but I think the UFC Fight Pass is exceptionally good money for how much of a catalogue and a library that they have. Mm-hmm. You could legitimately not waste, but you could use 10 years of your life just trying to catch up on watching 1 or 2 events a day, and you still would still have like enough time to watch something else. But I just think it's crazy just think that he is now looking into certain fighters, and I showed him Mark Hunt because obviously the walkaway KOs and stuff like that from this big stocky Samoan, and he just found it insane that you don't have to be the athletically big guy to get the W.
Yeah, I'm a huge Mark Hunt fan. Like, when he fought Nishijima in Pride, he was the middleweight boxing champion, and you got like a heavyweight kickboxer versus a middleweight boxer. And you think, oh, well, okay, Hunt's like not really an MMA guy, but he'll probably take this dude down. Nah, just stands with him for 3 rounds, just fucking slings leather. Like, I don't think you could be a fight fan and not enjoy watching Mark Hunt fight. He's just, what more do you want? And his fight
at the same time,
the first one, oh, what a brawl.
Yeah. No, but at the same time, like you hear that shit that he's showing like really bad signs like CTE and all that, and the slurring, and
Of course he is,
Yeah, you were just waiting for it
for so long, and it's a shame that he had to play that game for so long. I know, he made a lot of money in K1 back in the day, and a fair bit of money in Pride, but he obviously, didn't spend it particularly well, and ended up in a pretty bad situation. It's just a shame that he's just got to the point now where he's making good coin again, and now his body can't hold up.
He's a fucking warrior, though. He turned around and said, look, I'm going out on my stretcher because this is what it is. Like, I'll go out and just die in there if I have to, because fuck it, I've already dedicated now. I'm already there, so, which is crazy to even imagine. But with that same thing said, I just want to throw this out there as well for people who do, tune in, and people who follow us on Twitter and everything like that. I'd just like to say that our biggest ever episode, ever, and this is by a fucking landslide, is the mini episode of us 3 talking about Bigfoot Silva fighting against Rico Verhoeven that will be happening. I believe it's in October at Glory 46.
I hope it gets cancelled. I hope it gets cancelled so badly.
Yo, honest to God, like I get notifications every day that another 20, another 30, another 40 people have watched it, and I swear to you, it's the biggest watched video on this channel that we've had. And you know, it's been more played than I think the episode that we did with Dan Hardy. It's more than what we did with Destiny Johnson, Demetrius Johnson's wife, a whole array of different people. But yeah, the fact that that fight is genuinely happening now and that is official, it's not just us speculating about it. Like, that fight is official. It's a fucked up day when you think about it right now.
Wasn't it? Who was it? Oh, never mind. I was thinking of somebody else. Fuck.
But yeah, it's in China.
Of course, you have to go to China to get that sanction. Fuck that.
I just think to myself, like, we're gonna see somebody die. Like that's just what we're gonna see. Like, we're joking aside, like, we're gonna see somebody actually gonna get murdered in there because Rico's a bad man.
Oh, dude,
it's crazy, man. You get this so much on domestic shows where you get guys who, there's a big difference between a journeyman in MMA and a journeyman in boxing. Like, boxing journeymen are like the best defensive technical fighters you're going to find. That they will go out there and lose like a 4-round or a 6-round or an 8-round fight, and they'll barely take any clean shots because if they get knocked out, they can't work the next weekend, so they don't get paid, and they become great technically defensive boxers. Then you have your MMA journeymen, who are the guys who step in at late notice for 300 quid and get banged out or tapped strikes or whatever. And we're seeing this more and more. I'm not saying Bigfoot's that guy, but he might as well be, because he's taking these fights. He's getting haggard all over the place, and now he wants to take kickboxing fights. He's a terrible striker, and he's fighting the best heavyweight kickboxer in the world. I'm in a position where I've got to have a fucking awkward conversation tomorrow because I've got to pull a fighter from the FCC card because he's booked on our card on the 30th of September. He fought last weekend and got knocked out. He's fighting this Saturday, and I guarantee he'll get knocked out. And he thinks he's going to come and fight on my show on the 30th. It's like, well, no, it's not going to happen. These are the guys who are going to cause a problem for the sport, because if you look at like the UFC or promotions in the UK like BAMMA and Cage Warriors, you can at least say, well, if the worst comes to the worst and someone gets seriously hurt or dies, you can say, well, they had a full medical, they had a brain scan, they had the neck scans, and they were inspected by a doctor before the fight, and then they were given a medical afterwards, and they were taken to hospital straight away, and we did everything we could to ensure that they were okay.
Yeah.
So guys on a domestic show, and it turns out, well, actually, they got knocked out the week before, and they got knocked out 2 weeks before that, and they've been knocked out in the last 9 fights, and they had a brief medical, and there was no brain scans. What have we done to look after that guy? Nothing.
I'd love to see a kind of a ratio of certain fighters, if we could, like, analytically find out, of people who have had absorbed the most amount of significant strikes, and just see then how it develops as those people as it goes along. Because sometimes it's not even the fact that they've been knocked out. Sometimes it's just the constant tap into the head that rattles the brain. You don't even need to get knocked out. That's the scary thing nowadays. Because if you consistently get hit in the head, like, your brain's just rattling. And it'd be very interesting to see if there's certain fighters, you could look at people like a Mark Hunt, who's been in fights where they've gone, predominantly all the rounds, and they've been mainly stand-up striking bouts. It'd be very interesting to kind of see.
So he's fighting 2 or 3 times a year, and and just speaking in the UK, for example, there's guys who are fighting every weekend, or twice a weekend, or 3 times a weekend. I know guys who fought 3 times in the same night and been knocked out every time.
Mm-hmm.
And they've taken a second fight on the same show, and they've driven an hour from Manchester to Liverpool and taken another fight over there and got knocked out. These are the guys that we need to worry about. And they're the guys that don't care either, because all they care about is they get the 300 quid, and then they go out on the smash, and that's all they're interested in. And the promoters are using them to save a show. You've got a big ticket seller, the opponent pulls out in fight week, you bang this guy in to save your show.
I've got a question to ask you, and you don't have to give me a specific detail of what the organization was, but just a yes or no. Have you ever experienced a fighter come into the show? How can I put it? under the influence of drugs, and it's predominantly just blatantly obvious, and they fought for a non-regional but like bigger promotions and stuff, and you can just tell.
Not Bama or Cage Warriors, but on smaller shows, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I worked on a show once where a journeyman guy turned up fucked, got hammered, and then he was like a lightweight, and then there was a light heavyweight whose opponent had basically ran off on the night, and the promoter paid the guy to fight again, the lightweight guy to fight the light heavyweight guy, and
Eddie's face.
Yeah. The lightweight guy went on his Facebook and said, I've just done about 2 grams of coke and I'm going to go in and fight a light heavyweight. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck me.
Did it help?
Did it help you die?
Did the coke help?
No, it didn't. No. He got licked.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, on the regional level, you see that kind of stuff all the time, unfortunately. I know
people use gear a lot of the time, but that's a different thing.
You know, to me, that's more dangerous. I know of referees who've refereed under the influence, and that's more dangerous to me.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you know, let's be honest. We're talking about very kind of
of course
domestic shows, but no show that I've ever worked on has had that situation. And if I ever found out that was the case, I'd never work for that kind of show. That's my kind of litmus test, to be honest. I don't work many small shows these days, but if I worked on a show called Golden Ticket in Birmingham recently for the first time, and my litmus test is always, who are the referees, who are the judges, and what are the matches like. And I went to this Golden Ticket show, and I knew all the officials, I knew all the judges. They were all top guys. Every fight was matched really evenly. And so it's the kind of promotion I could work for. But to me, it's not. It's nothing to do with like ego or reputation. I just don't want to be involved in anything where guys are getting.
Yeah, but you don't want to watch people that are like, there's a standard of like what you want to watch as well. Because I put it this way, like you wouldn't ever want to watch a guy who's totally sober. If you were in the street and you saw 2 drunk guys absolutely both smashed out of the face and they're rolling around on the floor trying to punch each other, fine, let them get on with it. But if you saw a guy who's completely sober and he's beating up some poor fucking absolutely rat-assed, can't even stand to start with guy, it's just not right. And you don't want to see that kind of happen to anybody.
I'll tell you a funny story. We were the first Cage Warriors Arena show in Liverpool a couple of years ago. A big group of us had gone out afterwards. And we got kicked out of this bar. So we were kind of wandering around the centre of Liverpool trying to find somewhere to go in. And we were right in the center of Liverpool, and there's this big fountain in the middle of a big square. And there was like these 5 or 6 guys just beating the fuck out of this one dude who looked like a homeless guy, maybe. And we were sort of like walking down the street, and we were like, fuck, we better do something about this. But we didn't really want to get in it. We were all wearing our Cage Warriors gear. We didn't really want to get into, fights. But we were with, Joe Martinez, the boxing announcer. He'd announced that show, and he just fucking steamed in. And he ran straight into the middle of these guys, and he started pushing them away. And he was like, you fucking pussies, one-on-one. If you're going to fight him, one-on-one, motherfuckers. So we all kind of like ran in expecting to like run into a fight. But then these guys were like, okay, one-on-one. And this dude, he must have been a homeless dude or just a massive pisshead. He dropped every single one of them, one after the other. Bam, bam, bam. He was just dropping them like flies, mate. It was unbelievable. We were all stood there like, come on, no, yeah, you go for it, mate. No worries. I think these kids just picking themselves up. They're like, fuck.
That's the thing now. There's that mentality, isn't there? Where there's just that thing of where most of these guys don't want to do that one-on-one thing because that's when nerves start setting in. It's easy to fight people when you've got 2 other people there to, assist you and whatnot. But I just find it fucking crazy, man. We were talking, me and Eddie, earlier because I was telling him about, he was asking about like the culture of like, is it kind of like rough-ish, like growing up around here? Like, is it different and stuff like that? And I was like, you've got these idiotic like gangs of little kids that are called road men now. And it's just like, we have this idiotic culture of these young lads that like want to cause trouble and they will only do it in groups. They're not built to do it like one-on-one. It's just not the mentality.
And they've all got knives and that these days. I mean, look, we're not old guys, but when I was a kid, like if you had a fight with someone, you just had a fight with them. That was it. I wouldn't risk getting involved in a fight with like some teenagers now because I'll probably get stabbed.
Exactly.
Yeah, back then, you got in a fight, but you lived, motherfucker. You didn't, you weren't worried about getting your neck fucking slashed out. Now it's all these kids think they're tough with knives and guns and shit. Fucking morons.
Did you see the monument, the sculpture that they made? I believe it was in London, I want to say, where over the course of, I think it's over the past year, all the knives that they've taken off of all they've, when they've gone into places of the police and whatnot, all of them that they've accumulated, they made this big monument, and it's like an angel. It's like a big, massive angel. And it's made up of all the knives like melted and shit. And it's like this big, huge, massive like monument. And it's like it kind of looks like the Game of Thrones throne with all the knife bits at the back. And then it's got like the actual angel. And it's made from all the metal that's from the knives.
Game of Shanks.
Pardon?
Game of Shanks.
Oh my God, that's just not fun. You just come up with a promotion to be held in Japan.
Oh, jeez.
Or Southeast London.
You are?
Or Southeast London.
Yeah, here's how it works, man. You tie, you guys get like a big handkerchief or something like nice, strong, like material. You tie their fucking wrists together and give them knives and then have them go at it. There you go, Japan. You're welcome.
It's like make your own Wolverine, like 10 pence Wolverine.
Do you guys ever see things called like shock fights or something, where they tape the tasers to the guy's hands?
No, I haven't seen that.
Time out. They punch each other with tasers?
Yeah. So they had like
yes.
These, like,
where do I see this?
It's on YouTube. Like they had these big like the 18-ounce sparring gloves, and they just tape tasers to each hand, and they were just like.
What was Dude, I want to see this so badly.
It's called like shock fights or something. It's on YouTube now. It's brilliant.
What was the thing called now with I don't want to quote where it was from, but I'm going to say probably Thailand. But was it called tope, where they used to put the glass, where they used to wrap their hands, put it in glue, and then put it in the glass?
So you had Thai boxing back in the day, which was originally bare knuckle. And then you had something called, so that was Muay Thai, and then you had Muay Baran, which was the same thing, but they used to use the rope from the fishing boats, and they wrapped their hands in rope, so it basically, because it was so rough, of course, it would just slice guys' faces open. And then it was like underground Muay Baran, they would dip their hands in glue and glass and rock and whatnot.
The only reason I know anything to do with that is I used to watch ECW back in the day, wrestling, and I remember when they
actually Ian Rotten, the Taipei Death Match. I remember that.
That's the one. That's the actual thing that I saw, and that's why I thought it was called that. Yo,
dude, you gotta look this up. Ash. These motherfuckers are Bruce Lee, like not even Bruce Lee. This is like Liu Kang Mortal Kombat shit with tasers fucking tied to their gloves, and you can hear the shit's fucking hitting. It's like the whole time. Like, woo!
MMA with
motherfuckers are fighting. Just look up, just search shock fights on YouTube and enjoy, motherfucker. It's hilarious.
You know what, right? I've got an idea, right? I'll try and find some of the videos and we'll do some commentary over the next videos. We'll actually do some commentating over some of these shock fights, did you call them?
Yeah,
shock fights.
Right, I'll find some of these next time and we'll make sure that we'll do some live commentary and we'll play the video. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. We'll do it. But right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for tuning in, guys. Please make sure that you subscribe and like this episode as well. Thank you to Brad for obviously tuning in and coming through and dropping knowledge as always. Where can they find you and what can they find you on next?
You can get me on Twitter at MMA Brad48. This Friday night, I am commentating the Phoenix MMA Muay Thai thing in London. I'm sure it's being broadcast everywhere. That looks to be pretty cool. And then, back on Cage Warriors in October. We've got Cage Warriors Wales on the 14th, and then the 28th, we're back in Liverpool. Paddy Pimblett, Chris Fishgold, Molly McCann. Going to be a huge show at the Echo Arena.
I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors as well, Receptra. They do all the extract and CBD oils me and Eddie use for training, to help with inflammation. They also help with an array of different things, whether it be kind of your mental focus. They also help with an array of different health issues that you may have. I strongly recommend just Googling CBD oils and seeing the benefits of them. They have like 0.01% THC, so you won't get high from them. Don't believe all that stigma and all that bullshit. It's just not true. You could drink the bottle and you wouldn't even get high, but I wouldn't suggest it because you probably shit.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I actually started using CBD oil last week, and it's genuinely been a life changer for me. I couldn't recommend it enough.
It's
right? 100%.
It's a beautiful thing. I think that it'd be so, especially in the UK, it'd be awesome if we could get it on an NHS kind of based thing. So that, you know, it could change people's lives, especially people like my auntie. You know, this sounds really deep now, but my auntie has been suffering with terminal cancer, and they told her that she'd have a month and a half at best. We're talking 6 months ago now, after she's been using CBD oil and the cream as well, and they're saying that she could potentially be around for at least another year maybe, and this is just based on what, you know, she's been using. And she's had no chemo, she's had a little bit of radio, but that's it. And I just think it's an amazing thing. I'm not putting it down to that, but it's just amazing to see that she starts using it and to see changes. I just strongly advise anybody to check out CBD oils. But the one that we always recommend is Receptra, which is RECEPTRA, naturals.com if you're in the States. That's receptranaturals.com if you're in the States. Receptraglobal.com if you're in the United Kingdom / Europe. You can also order if you're from like Australia and New Zealand as well. They do worldwide. But when you go in there, fill up your cart, then enter the code word, all one word, the heel hook, and you will get 10% your entire order. Secondly, our other sponsor, Bain. Bain is a jiu-jitsu and athletic apparel. They ship worldwide. They do amazing artwork, and it's all authentic kind of jiu-jitsu inspired. So everything you see from the Ezekiel shirts to the mugs, everything's from the love of jiu-jitsu that they genuinely have. They've got so many cool little bits and pieces that they're releasing every week, and they're about to drop a new thing. So check them out. It's Bain Store. That's BAIN store.com. Go on there, fill up your cart again. Get 10% off. We're putting in the code word, the heel hook. Where can they find you, Eddie, as well?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Elot31, on Snapchat, Elot52, and of course, all the podcasts and shows and everything we do is at crossbonesmma.com. And yeah, that's kind of it. By the way, this Receptor shit, they actually have a Receptor Pet too. I've been fucking around with ordering that. Yeah, I just saw it right now on their Instagram. So if you go to their Instagram, I think it's at Receptor, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Fuck, I lost it, but yeah, it's on Instagram. Look it up. They actually have it for pets now. So in the coming week, I'm gonna order one for my dog Kimura for sure.
It really does help. When I had the I think it's the Prime one, and when I had that one, I used to just get one drop on my finger, and I used to give it to my dog. And you know, like sometimes when your dog gets a little bit kind of agitated, or like you can tell they're a little bit achy if they're not really if they've been walking too much. It just helps them kind of relax a little bit more. Also as well, it helps with if he's, you know, this sounds so crude, but you know, like when your dog just doesn't want to go. Yeah,
it helps.
It helps with the bowels. It helps with the hunger as well. So if you're ever a little bit worried that they're not going to be eating, you know, just one drop I give, and I only do it once a day, and literally, like, I don't have to worry about a thing. And it's, like I say, it's an amazing thing in CBD, and I can't recommend it enough. Lastly, make sure that you subscribe, guys, to the channel. Please leave a like on this as well. Additional to that, you can find us on Twitch TV. /The Heel Hook. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on iTunes, all The Heel Hook. You can find us on Twitter at The Heel Hook. You can find me at Just Ash Official on Snapchat, and you can find me at Ashley Lamprey, ASHLEYIMPRY.
You can find me. You can find me in Paige Van Zant's DM, son. I saw your picture, girl. I'm coming. I'm coming after you. Okay.
Eddie's trying to roll with any chick, like any chick.
Not any chick.
Who was the chick that I was talking to you about before when we was talking in the DMs the other day? Was that chick we was talking about?
The jiu-jitsu girl?
Yeah.
Gordon.
No. That was the no. Man, I'm trying to find this in the DMs right now because this is super important, guys. We were just about to like, no, it was Yankova from
from Bellator.
Yo.
Yeah. Well, we signed her because she could fight. My ass, motherfucker.
But yo, Smoke Show 5000 from so from that note, guys, always been a pleasure. Peace up. A10 down. We're out of this bitch.